imagination in sins. So after he enticed them finally in the end, it does state in the hadith that Hawa was the first one to fall to the trick of Iblis. Now this does not mean that every woman is weak because of Hawa. Doesn't mean every woman is like that. Yes, it is an inheritance. They are our fathers and mothers. We do inherit things from each other, from parents. But not every woman is like that. So the Christian idea that the woman is suffering with pregnancy and menstruation is because of her eating from the tree is false and unjust. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. No person who commits a sin, will carry the sin of another person who committed it. Each person on their own. You do a sin, I didn't do it, you have the penalty, I don't. And vice versa. Adam alayhi salam, a little short while afterwards, he was enticed to do so as well. And so they finally both ate. You could realize, Allah did not remind them when Hawa only approached the tree, but it was when both of them did so. This is from the mercy of Allah. Maybe the husband will be the final person who will stop this and turn things around. But Allah waited. When the leader of the family makes a mistake, then everyone under him will also falter. It's the lesson over here. Allah has placed the husband as the qawwam. In the Quran, Allah says, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا. Allah has made the men the protectors and maintainers of the women because of some of the favors and strengths which He has given each one more than the other. Women have strength that men don't have, and men have strength that women don't have, and men are responsible for donating and providing. The strength that the man has is that of leadership in the family and the provision. That man, when he falters, the wife follows in generally. There are women, of course, who are stronger than the men. But in general case, when she marries that man and she acknowledges his leadership, then automatically and naturally we rely on that leader. Every system must have a leader. And it would be unfair to place the woman as the leader. Why? She goes through pregnancy. She goes through menstrual cycle. In these situations, she is not entirely in her right mind. There are natural biological hormones that are basically playing up in her body which affect her decision making, her emotions. To place her a leader of responsibility in these circumstances is unfair. But the man can't complain and say, I was going through labor. I was going through menopause. I had my cycle. I couldn't think straight. A man can't say that. So, although he is not perfect, but he is placed in a leadership role. Adam alayhi salam approached the tree, and finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now comes into the picture. As soon as they approached that tree, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? In the understanding of the people of the book, Christians and maybe Jews, but especially in the Christian tradition, it seems like biblically that God was angry. Lightning, thunder, that type of anger. Such an anger, some of them interpret it to be some kind of a defensive anger. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not afraid of anything. Number two, it does not state in the Quran or the hadiths any implication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was angry with Adam alayhi salam and Hawa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did become displeased with what they had done for their own sake. You know, when a father or mother advises their son or daughter, because they have more experience in life, you see. But we, the children, there is stages in our lives where we become very arrogant. we think that we feel sorry for ourselves. And we think the whole world's against us, no one understands our pain. But why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place the father and the mother in that position of guidance if He didn't know that they had previous encounters like yourselves? The smart person, as my teacher once said when I was back in Lebanon, I remember a teacher, he gave very good advice. He said, there are some people who learn from the mistakes of others. And there are some people who learn from their own mistakes, and there are smarter people who learn from the mistakes of others. So take that advice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then when they make a mistake, your children, you're upset. And even if you're angry, the anger is not that of a defensive nature. You are angry for them. You are upset because you want the best for them. Your love made you upset with them because you wanted to see something better for them. There is no parent in the world who would want to see any harm or wrong path to their children, unless they have really erred, and for example, they've misunderstood Allah's guidance. Then yeah, they can probably misguide their children, but that's a different story. I'm talking about when everything's correct, they're advising you something which also befits with Islam and their experience. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Adam alayhi salam and Hawa, what did He say to them? He said to them, Alam anhakuma an tilkuma ash-shajara. Did I not forbid you from that tree? He's reminding them. So you can see now, a parent would sit down, obviously, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلِ الْأَعْلَى, to Allah belongs the best of examples. I just want to get it sort of close to our minds a little bit here, in relation by using the context of the parents. A parent who understands how to raise their children, and how to learn from their mistakes, sits down and makes sure, first of all, that they understood the concept. They understood the rule. They understood what's going on. Once they make sure that they understand, then they tell them how to resolve the situation. So Allah asked them, Alam, did I not forbid you? Do you remember? They said yes. What happened at that moment when they ate from the tree, or they approached the tree? There was actually a concealing. There was a part of their body, which was their awrah. It was concealed with light, with nur. Obviously, yes, there was intimate activities, but in general cases, they weren't naked, running around. When they took from the tree, that nur went away, and so they were naked. And when we say that word naked, obviously some people, or majority of us, we think, oh my God, this word, nudity or naked, it does trigger something inside of us. It triggers our senses. That's because it is our instinctive nature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, that we are shy. We are shy. Even a child, 7 years old, 6, 5, 4 years old, wallah, even 3 years old, there comes a stage where they're shy. My daughter's now nearly 3 years old. When she wets her nappy, she's shy. And I think to myself, how can she be shy? I never taught her to be shy about that, but she's shy. My son is 2, 3 years old, he's shy. He goes to the toilet, he's shy. Probably my son is a little bit more shy than others. He won't even change in front of anyone. But it is an instinctive nature in a human being to be shy. You can get rid of that shame by committing the haram. And then Allah says, like zina, for example, when you come close to it, it involves nudity. Allah says, وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا, the end road of it is really bad. Your shame goes away, everything. Now, look at the combination here. Adam alayhi salam and Hawa ate or took from this tree. Suddenly, the shame came to them. From what? From less covering, less concealment. What is the combination between? Now obviously this was a disobedience. It was a sin. It was a minor sin, but it was a sin. That minor sin, what is the combination between the minor sin of approaching the tree and then revealing their awrah? This is something extraordinary. What is the relationship between committing that sin and the awrah being revealed? And so they were shameful. This is because every sin, my dear brothers and sisters, leads to immorality. It leads us to desensitization. You know what desensitization is? Like we're sensitive towards important things. Every sin makes you become desensitized. You no longer care about sins anymore. And even some people, they go very far to the point where it becomes very normal. Adultery is normal. Kissing a girl is normal. Sweet words in seclusion is normal. Forget about that. It's normal now, and I hate to say it, but now it's even among the Muslims themselves. Homosexuality is normal. Homosexuality is normal to some people. Normal. Desensitized. And I repeat, there was, subhanAllah, one time, went to this park, took my children there, and saw this little girl, said it to you before, about 6, 7 years old. She's trying to play on the monkey bars. Her mother, and she was wearing a short skirt, the little girl. And the mother said, why don't you toss over, twist over, upside down. The little girl said to her mother, she said to her mother, I'm wearing a skirt, Mum. Meaning, I'm shy. My underwear will show. That's what she's saying. Her mother said to her, don't worry, you're still a little girl, you can do it. So the girl now, what happened? The mother's teaching made the girl think it's okay. This is the beginning, the first step to shame, to lack of shame, desensitization. Now, Adam a.s. ate from the tree, or approached the tree in Hawa, and so the awrah was shown. There is a combination between sin and immorality, sin and indecency, sin and lack of shame. Why did Adam a.s. and Hawa eat from the tree? Didn't they know? Yes, they knew. Knowledge, but there was something else. The nafs. It is curiosity. I told you before, why do human beings say to themselves, I'm not going to go too deep? But then they find themselves going deeper. Because inside of our bodies, my dear brothers and sisters, Allah has created a test. Something that we can grow out of and become better human beings, or we can obey and become worse human beings. It is curiosity and desire. So when he told them, don't eat from the tree, there had to be a secret to that tree. Akid fiha sir. There has to be a secret to it. I mentioned this last week. So now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He forbids something, the curiosity of the human being and his desires say to him, why can't I? Why? Why can't I go and do this? Why has God forbidden that? I don't understand that concept. And so you find, for example, a Muslim sister refuses to wear the hijab because she doesn't understand the concept. Why should I wear it? I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. Tayyib, don't you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who recommended it for you? Shouldn't that be enough? If you know Allah, if you really know Allah, you will trust Allah. A man says, why should I pray? I'm a good person. Prayer is meant to make me become a better person. I'm already a good person. Tayyib, again. Although you probably lack a lot of knowledge, deep ignorance in the benefits of prayer, at least, who is the one who commanded you with it? Allah. Do you know Allah? Do you trust Allah? Tayyib, obey Him and watch what happens afterwards. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ prayed even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forgiven him all his sins, past, present and future. Yet he stayed in the nights until his feet cracked open and pus would excrete from them. Praying. أَفَلَا أَكُونُ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Shall I not be a thankful servant to Allah in the least? It's a secret. Why? And I'll finish it off with this. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us so that we can grow and become better mu'mineen by forbidding certain things from us. You know the story of Musa alayhi salam and the cow? Tayyib, what happened to the children of Israel at that time? They were with Musa alayhi salam and the man was murdered. So then they said, Ya Musa, can you ask Allah so we can find out who killed this man? He asked him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to them, in order to find the murderer, you need to slaughter a cow. Ajib. You want to find the murderer? Slaughter a cow? In today's world, forensic scientists will think you're a loony. So what do you mean? Imagine that. You go to a murder scene. And you're a forensic scientist, or you're one of those CSIs, as you watch on television, CSI. And you go, I know the solution. I think we should go to the farm and get a cow and slaughter it. We'll find out who killed this guy. Now, obviously you think to yourself, what's this? Allah says to them, slaughter a cow. Just like in Jannah, He said to Adam, don't eat from that tree. There was nothing special about it. It's just any tree. It's like saying this, don't eat from that tree. Just randomly. It wasn't about the tree. It wasn't about anything to do with it. There was nothing special about it. But there was something else. I want to teach you, how can you grow? How can you come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is through the obedience and trust. So Allah said to them, slaughter a cow. What do you think they said? Ya Musa, tatakhiduna huzwa? Are you mocking us? You think we're stupid? You think we're idiots? Atatakhiduna huzwa? Qala a'udhu billahi an akuna min al-jahilin. He said, I seek refuge in God from being among the ignorant people. I won't trick you in Allah's command. So when they saw that he was adamant, they said, this doesn't make sense. Tayyib, go, ask him what color it is. Ask him how it looks like. Ask him. Every time he'd go back, he'd come back with a new question. They just can't fathom it, so they kept on asking questions to avoid it. It wasn't enough that Allah commanded them. So Allah now exposed why they are being penalized for what they are being penalized with. And if they ended up in hellfire, why? Because you question everything Allah tells you. Tayyib, you're here to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll give you the benefits Allah says. I want you to grow and become better human beings through suffering. But here, one simple command. Just slaughter any cow and you're going to find the murderer. Any cow. They didn't want to take the easy way out. So they kept asking and asking until finally it came to the stage where the command was, it is a cow that is yellow in color, vibrant in color. It has not a single mark anywhere on its body. It has never been touched, never plowed in the land. It has never been mated with any other cow. It is huge, beautiful. And guess what? It belonged to an orphan. And that orphan did not sell them this cow until his mother said to him, tell them to weigh the cow, and whatever its weight is, they're going to pay me gold equivalent to its weight. And when they slaughter it, they've got to fill extra to that its piece of skin with gold and give it to us. Allahu Akbar. They slaughtered it. Allah says, فَذَبَحُوهَا وَمَا كَادُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. They slaughtered it and they weren't even going to do that. Then Allah said to them, قَالَ اضْرِبُوهُ بِبَعْضِهَا. Go to the body of the deceased and hit him with a bit of its meat. Now this time, this also doesn't make sense to them, but they thought, look, we've copped it, we better just listen this time. Trust in Allah. They hit him with a bit of the meat. What happened? He woke up. Allah is able to do anything. It's not about the meat, it's not the cow that made him wake up. It is a test of your obedience to Allah. Will you come closer to me? Will you trust me or will you not? I'm just going to give you a little test for yourself. The man said, so-and-so killed me. It was his nephew because of some inheritance. And then he died again. Ya ikhwan, brothers and sisters in Islam. We ask, why this? Why that? There has to be a secret to it. What is the secret? Remember, everything that Allah has forbidden us, remember the example of Adam a.s. and Hawa. There was nothing special about the tree, as you found out in the end. Only was about, will you obey Allah and trust in Him? And surely if you do so, Allah will make you a better human being and reward you in this life and in the hereafter. You can reap its benefits. Don't let your desires be your God. Let God, Allah who created your desires, be your God. Obey Him and your life will be stable. Disobey Him and the life will become unstable. I'll finish with this ayah, can I? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والله يريد أن يتوب عليكم ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا. Which means, and Allah wants to lessen the burden off you. But those who are deep in their desires want to lead you astray and make life hard on you. Allah wants to forgive you. And those who are deep in their desires want to turn you away from that. But man was created with weaknesses, meaning monitor those weaknesses, brothers and sisters, and challenge them, wrestle with them, and you will succeed, inshaAllah. Allah does not look at the quantity of your actions, He looks at its quality. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم.